knowledge. Welcome to my lesson on pre-algebra, evaluating algebraic expressions. This is where we're going to have some expressions that have variables in them. And we just need to be comfortable with that, the idea that a variable is a letter that represents the number. Many times I've had GED students that tell me that, math was their favorite class in elementary school. They did wonderfully with math until the letters started getting in there. They can't quite grasp why in the world we have letters invading the math page. They just never got comfortable with the whole idea that a letter just represents a number. And if you think about it, we use variables all the time in geometry and other formulas. A very common one that I think everybody's pretty comfortable with is we can find the area of a room or a rug or whatever it might be by taking length times width. Now I said the words length and width here as I pointed at the L and the W. I think most of us have seen this formula and we recognize that L stands for length and W stands for width. Let's say we are talking about a rug. And it's got a length of 12, so I can say L is equal to 12, and the width is equal to, say, 8. What we can do is we can go ahead and plug in 12 for the L and 8 for the W, and work our way down and say 12 times 8 is equal to 96. So let's say that that was a 12 foot by 8 foot rug. So we would know that this was 96 square feet. A lot of times you could write that like that. I wouldn't get too worried about the units here. I just wanted to prove to you in this little example here that we have used and you have used formulas which involve variables for quite a long time. So don't spaz out here when you see this page, because you are going to work through a couple algebraic expressions. You just haven't been familiar with them. Just because I made them up. All we're going to do here in this first one is we are going to evaluate the expression 3a plus b when a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 7. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug this in here and say a is equal to 2. We're going to plug this in here. So I'm going to rewrite and plug in a 2 here for the a plus 7. So really at this stage of the game, once you've plugged everything in, you really have an order of operations problem. So 3 times 2 is going to give us 6 plus 7, which is going to give us 13. So when I evaluate this expression, 3a plus b, when a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 7, it evaluates it as 13. Okay, and of course, our expressions can get a little more complicated. In this one, we've got an exponent. We're told that we have x squared plus 2x, and we want to evaluate this when x is equal to 7. So I'm going to plug in 7 for x. I have 7 squared plus 2 times 7. Again, we've just got order and operations problem. We're going to have to deal with our exponent. 7 squared means 7 times 7, which gives us 49, plus 2 times 7 gives us 14. When we add that together, we come up with 63. Okay, and here this is actually the formula for finding the area of a triangle. In this case, we know that b in the b times h, b is going to be equal to 12, and the h is going to be equal to 4. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to say 12 times 4 over 2. I'll work it this way. 12 times 4 is 48 over 2. 2 goes into 48 is equal to 24. So again, once you plug it in, it's an order of operations problem. Here we've got m over p minus 2x. I need to plug in 36 for m. I need to plug in 3 for p minus 2 times plugging in 5 for x. So 3 goes into 36. That's going to give us 12. 2 times 5, that's minus 10, which is going to give us 12 minus 10 is going to give us 2. And again, things are getting a little more complicated. I'm going to keep my square root, but I've got square root of a squared plus b squared. I need to plug in a, 3 for a, and 4 for b. So when I do that, I end up with 3 squared plus 4 squared. Again, it's an order of operations problem. I need to evaluate this square root by first dealing with each item underneath there. 3 squared is going to be 9. 4 squared is going to be 16. Again, before I can deal with that square root, I've got to simplify the expression underneath there. 9 plus 16 is 25. Now I'm cooking. Square root of 25, some number times itself that is equal to 5, or 25 would be 5. Okay, here we're going to evaluate an expression that has a square, and our variable is going to be a negative number. I want to put the negative 2 inside parentheses here. Square minus 4, negative 2. I wanted to do one that had a negative variable. I had to plug it in 2 places. I need to deal with this expression, the exponent first. So negative 2 to the second power means negative 2 times negative 2. Well, a negative times negative, that's going to make that positive 4. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this down because I want to do things in one step at a time. Okay, we've taken care of our exponent. Now I want to deal with our multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. Negative 4, notice that 4 is negative because of that sign there. Negative 4 times negative 2 is going to be positive 8. Again, 2 negatives. We have got our pair of negatives here. We're going to have a positive outcome. So 12 plus 8 is going to give us 20. Okay, and again, many of these problems are set up and laced into a word problem. For example, this first expression here, we have 3a plus b. We could say that that expression is the formula used for calculating the cost of someone coming out and fixing a step on your front step. They're going to charge $3 for each step, and then they're going to charge a service fee for coming out. So that might be an expression that they might use. Not very realistic, but generally I'm trying to point out that these algebraic expressions are usually laced into a word problem, so you have to set up the expression and then plug in your variables. Hopefully you'll get a chance to work on evaluating more expressions, because this is a very, very valuable skill, and I use it very often to kind of steer students toward a shortcut when it comes to some other things that we do in algebra. So evaluating algebraic expressions, being able to plug in and solve these expressions is very important. Again, just remember that the letter represents a number.